What was your day like? What did you do when you came in?
Pretty much got straight to business. Obviously, it's been a while since I've been here. I was excited to get back, so obviously I had to say hello to, everyone that I could, everyone who was in the building. Obviously there were a lot of my teammates here, so it was good to see those guys. But, as soon as I went upstairs and saw Josh, he handed me my book and said, "Let's go." And we went downstairs, and we had a good film session. We started a little after 10 and finished at about 3, so it was it was a good first day. It was good to get back in it. I think this break's made me realize how much I love this game and how much I missed it, and the fact that I was back here today, back in it, it felt great.
How much you had the book, so how much did you find that you knew? Maybe because what you think you know, and then when Josh is sitting there showing you stuff, how do you pass the test?
There's definitely a difference. Obviously, having the book and being able to look at it, it wasn't like I was looking at things that I was totally unfamiliar with today. However, there's a difference, from just looking at something on paper and trying to figure out, what words next to plays mean, and actually figuring out what's going on in Josh's head and how he feels about a play in a certain read. Obviously there were differences. Obviously there were things that I learned today that I had guessed wrong on looking at it by myself. But I think it was good to get in there and just hear him talk about it and start to understand the way he's going to speak about this offense.
What we saw of you out at the Lindenwood workouts, it looked like you were literally teaching the offense to the receivers. And I'm sure, you were at, Houston and some work in Oklahoma, and you were at Phoenix too, right? So,
Yeah.
How much did that benefit you? And was it that much different than what you might have done in a normal OTA? It looks like you were throwing passes and kind of coaching the offense.
Yeah. Besides the fact that, I was having to do probably a little more coaching than I would in a normal OTA, and the fact that we didn't have coaches to be there to explain everything, they were fairly similar. We went through routes on air, we went through 7-on-7, we did all those things. And I think it was really good for all of us to get together. The fact that everyone who came, all the wide receivers who were there, they've been introduced to this system. When we start on Saturday, it's not like they're going to be seeing things for the first time. Obviously there's going to be plays and concepts that we didn't talk about, but for the most part, a lot of routes that we did run, are going to be in the first practice. They will have run them, and we'll have some of our timing down on those things.
I know you haven't had a lot of contact with Josh, but just your early impressions on what you think it's going to be like to work with you.
Oh, I think it's going to be awesome. I think he's very smart. I think he knows a lot about this game. I'm excited to learn from him. I think if you've looked at what he's done in the past and the offenses that he's had, they've done some special things. I think we have the opportunity to do the same things here in St. Louis. I think it's just a matter of all of us getting in here, getting to work, and just getting going.